Welcome to Daily 5 for Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Aunt Pruitt, who was the guest host on the show a few weeks ago, had copied me or alerted me, or whatever term we're supposed to use, had basically alerted me to a story that I think somebody had alerted him to over on Twix, which is what I call the former Twitter now. A story that now has been on multiple different sites, and I'm sure if you follow technology news at all, or if you're some kind of creative professional, you've probably heard mention that Adobe has apparently been used, or has used, see, this is exactly where I'm going to go with this. There are reports that at some point in the process of training the Firefly generative AI system, Adobe used some portion of assets from the Midjourney generative AI tool. And I had said initially, because these are very early reports of it, but I had said, interesting, I'm going to wait on what Adobe says on this story. I can see two branches of it, and either one isn't great for the company, but one explanation might be more understandable. And I got a couple messages on this because people didn't really understand what I was saying there. And I kind of get that. I wasn't really specific. So this is my initial reaction to this, which is really not much of a reaction at all, because one of my problems with the stories, and I've looked at multiple versions, the original Bloomberg one, I've seen several other websites, Tom's Guide had one. There were at least two other sites that I went to, which all appear to just be regurgitating the Bloomberg story. But the problem is the story is light on the details that are really important. Specifically, at what point in the Firefly development was this being done? It's not clear. Adobe has not posted an official response as the recording of this 5. Now, of course, I'll probably do it 10 minutes before this posts. But right now, we really don't know when this happened. I did see something where they said, I think Adobe said less than 5% of their models had this stuff, and it really doesn't matter what the percentage is. What a lot of people are saying is this is hypocritical because Adobe was saying that they were doing ethical AI because they were getting consent for everything. And because Midjourney does not require consent, its inclusion in the Adobe data renders it unethical to some degree or by some percentage or whatever you want to look at. And as I said in my post, this isn't a good thing. This is not a good look for Adobe no matter what. But depending on when this was done, and here's something else, there is still not a legal consensus on what Midjourney is doing as far as I know. There's still multiple court cases going on for this. So depending on what the understanding was at the time this data was used, it is entirely reasonable, if perhaps a little bit questionable judgment-wise, that Adobe might have felt that they were actually still adhering to their ethical guidelines. We just don't know because we haven't gotten a really thorough response from Adobe. And if it is in fact 5%, and if this was done early on, when again, some of these legal questions may not have even been introduced yet, then I'm not sure how big a deal this really is. Now, if this was done knowing that, that there was all this controversy around the tool, if this was done well into its release, it becomes more troublesome. That said, let's keep in mind that Adobe is not a benevolent company that exists to make all humankind better. Certainly their subscription plan will tell you that. They are out to make money. So would I be deeply shocked if they had made a decision that reflected a better bottom line as opposed to transparency and honesty with their consumers or customers? I wouldn't be shocked at all. I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but it wouldn't surprise me. But again, right now, all we have is what, to me, is an initial report of something. I'm not saying it's not factual. I'm not saying it's not reflecting truth. I just don't know how much truth and what actually happened. So that's where I think the two branches lie. Depending on how early this was and what Adobe really knew or accepted as ethical at that point, this may not be as much of a huge thing as some people are making it out to be. But we really just have to wait because, like I said, this is what feels to me like the first report on something without the details. So those are the two, that's the detail that will tell me how much of a knowingly unethical move this was. I'm not even saying what that means or what people should think of it. I'm just saying right now, I don't know that I can come down with a real decision on how much Adobe knowingly did wrong here. And until we have more details of the story, again, specifically in the form of what Adobe's response is, which I'm sure they're calculating because I'm sure a lot of people are looking at them. But until we know that detail, then right now all we have is a report of something, but we really don't know what it actually means. Later.